We've got this right, Brad. K-State is first.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Yeah. I'm Bill Lamberty. Bethany Cordell seems to say hi to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I work with her at Montana State for a long time.
Great person. She's got an expanding family.
Yes, she does. Her husband's our PA guy, so.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. You see him all the time.
Yeah. Does he do any football?
He does men's hoops.
Okay. Yeah, that was good.
It's pronounced Mittie.
Yep, that's correct. He's here.
He's here. Hi, Coach. I'm Bill. Nice to meet you. Good. They've had a little trouble with the microphones with feedback, so if it starts happening, just lean into the mic a little more.
Okay.
That seems to help.
Perfect.
Hello, welcome. We welcome Kansas State coach Jeff Mittie to the stage, and we will go ahead and open it up to questions for Coach.
Good afternoon, Jeff. In Manhattan earlier this week, you talked about not looking in the rearview mirror, adding, quote, it's on to that next one and that next opportunity. Now you're here in Spokane in the game against USC awaits. Can you give us a sense for the mindset of this team heading toward the showdown Saturday night?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's exactly that. I mean, practices have been pretty solid, I think. Our preparation's been solid. I think they're asking the right questions. They're preparing the right way. So, we've got a great opportunity in front of us, and that's how our team's looking at it.
So often we talk to the players about enjoying the moment. How exciting of a time is this, being a head coach, and have you taken a moment to grasp the accomplishment that you, your staff, and the team have made at this point?
Yeah, I think those are things for after the year. I mean, bottom line, you get right back into the grind of it. It didn't take me too long, plane ride home to turn, to the next phase. Now, at that point, we didn't have an opponent, right? But you're always evaluating what you didn't do well in the game you just played. You're always evaluating what you're going to need to do better. And we knew that we weren't going to know our opponent for, roughly 24 hours. But I don't think that changes. We do a self-evaluation of each game every time we play. So that part doesn't change, regardless of the pride you feel of the win. Plane ride's a lot more fun. All right. As we talked about, the first 15, 20 minutes was great. Everybody then crashed after that. But, my preparation began pretty much right after the game.
Hi, Jeff. Kendra Andrews, ESPN. All year, really, sorry. USC plays so much through Juju, who obviously is not going to be able to play in these games. How does that impact the way you guys can prep, the film that you can watch of this team when their main player isn't going to be out there?
There's not many clips out there with her not on the floor. That's been a real challenge. Yeah, there's maybe 100 total. And they played so well without her. First off, I would just say you feel bad for Juju. And I said this in our presser earlier in the week, just the sense that anytime there are injuries, and in our game in women's basketball, there's more than we like, right? And we've dealt with it with Ayoka Lee, and it's tough. It's tough. And, in terms of our preparation, it's a challenge for us because there's going to be an element of the unknown, right? And so we'll have to, there may be in-game stuff that they're running more stuff that they're running, who they put in the activity. Obviously, Kiki had a terrific game, and she can do a lot for them. So we feel like there may be some things that they do there. There may be some things that they do with their shooters differently. So we'll have to be prepared for all of that.
Eden Lassie, Hoops HQ. I talked to Serena earlier in the year, and she said, it was crazy to her to be here because when she committed, she was worried that she wouldn't be able to play at this level. She thought maybe she should go to a mid-major. For you, just what has it been like watching her develop and have her at this moment?
That's been one of the things that we've been proud of, just our program in general, is the development of players like Serena that maybe aren't the five-star coming out, but my staff sees something in them. We see something that we can develop them in the weight room, develop them in their skill set. And Serena is exactly the type of player that we've had a lot of success with. Players that come every day, want to work, want to learn, want to get better. And with a lot of pride, I watch her and her teammates be in this moment and know all the hard work that they put in to get here. So her in particular, she's had a great senior year. Her game has changed from the freshman year dramatically to being able to run the offense at that point. And now we can run the offense through her at times, and we can run the offense to her. And you saw that at the very end of Kentucky. We ran to her at the very end to send that thing to overtime. And that's a play that as a freshman, early sophomore year, probably doesn't make.
Hey, Coach. Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. You've had Ayoka back for a couple games. Were really able to stretch her minutes against Kentucky. I'm wondering, do you feel like she's all the way back? And how has it been reintegrating her after a couple months?
It's a great question, Sabrina. I hear Yoki say, she's 100%. And I think when she says that, she's talking mainly that she's playing pretty pain-free. I think her foul trouble occurred in the Kentucky game because it's hard to jump right back into the most competitive time of the year. So she was late on some plays. She was late on a rotation, late on a screen. So it's been obviously great to integrate her back in because she does so many things for us. But we've seen her have a good week of practice again. She hasn't been limited at all in that. So my expectation, she said this before the tournament, and she was right. We have not discussed a minute limitations. I'll do what I think good coaches do. If she looks at me to come out, I'll ignore her. Okay, so. And I'll try to turn and pretend to be talking to other people. And we'll go from there.
Hey Jeff, Kevin Fielder from EMA Online. When Ayoka sort of battled foul trouble against Kentucky, Kennedy Taylor came in and hit 7 free throws, had, I think, 8 rebounds. What has she done to sort of embrace that role off the bench? And what were some of the discussions like throughout the year, knowing that she would have to be ready if Yoki suffered some kind of injury?
Yeah, I think Kennedy's played very well. She's had a very good February and a very good early March, and really played well. She was a big key in the Kentucky game because to that point of how many minutes Lee could play, there wasn't any restrictions, but you also don't want to stretch her. And then obviously the foul trouble, and then to have a backup like Kennedy who's playing very well and giving us extra possessions, getting to the free throw line, creating what we constantly talk about as that gravity in the paint, has been huge for us.
Hey, Coach, Grace Rayner with The Athletic. Did Gap Goat make the trip, and just what has that tradition meant to your team?
Yes, Gap Goat did make the trip. It's funny that you're bringing that up because I saw one of our managers grabbing him because I think they were about to put him underneath the storage, and they're like, no, he goes on the plane with everybody else, right? We had a little incident early in the year where it's Gap Goat too. Did make the trip. I hope our defense makes the trip as well.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. We've all seen the record with Ayoka in the lineup this season. Is there a confidence that with her out there that you can beat anybody in the country?
Yeah, there's definitely a confidence there with her. She impacts both ends of the floor, and most people think of it, I think, offensively in the sense that they see her record of 61 points in a game. They see the efficiency numbers. But she's one of the best defensive communicators I've coached. She's one of the best rim protectors I've coached. She plays with a nastiness down low, a physicality that we've missed. We've missed. As much as Kennedy has given us a lift, she doesn't have that shot blocking ability, that maybe communication. Although Kennedy's pretty good, when I'm talking about an elite communicator back there, you go back to the first 2 games at Lee in this tournament, we thought Fairfield was, we thought it was a nightmare matchup for the game for her to come back because she's playing a 5-out, shoot the 3. She's going to have to defend the 3 line. All the above is stuff that we don't see a lot of in our league. We see more traditional post play. And then you go to Kentucky's great size. So we do have a confidence with her out there. And we also have a confidence with her not in the game. And I think that's been a big difference in this team because when we hung in there in the second quarter, at Kentucky, a lot of that had to do with what Kevin talked about earlier was Kennedy Taylor coming off the bench. So there's a confidence both ways with our group that maybe we haven't had in the past.
First question, you said Gap Goat 2. Did something happen to the first one? Can you elaborate?
Yeah, we don't know if it ran away, was left in a meeting room. We jokingly said there's been no ransom notes. So we're not sure that, there's been all kinds of fun stories behind that, right? It's been a fun part. If you haven't heard the whole story of that, Gabby Gregory, who played for us a year ago, I was going to the team, and I'm a huge baseball fan. Opening day was yesterday, and baseball's kind of come up with the stuff when people hit home runs. Different teams have the celebration stuff, and obviously football many years ago, the turnover chain, and now I don't even know what they do on the sideline. Everybody's got crazy stuff, right? And so I went to Gabby and I said, hey, if we wanted to come up with something, because we'd been doing a defensive drill all year long, emphasizing 3 stops in a row. So the next day, Gabby looked at, the next day there's, I think, thank goodness for Amazon, because you can apparently get a stuffed goat in less than 12 hours. Okay. So this goat appears at practice. And then I'm talking to her, and I'm kind of laughing. I'm like, a goat? And then I turned and I said, you probably better get it an Instagram page. Well, within the hour, that thing had an Instagram page. And then all of a sudden, it had a gold chain. So it's been kind of a fun thing for our fans. And now our fan base, they've got miniature goats. My granddaughters all have them. It's quite the phenomenon for, yeah.
Related question, if I may. Obviously, Kiki Iriafen is a different kind of post, right? She can float out and do a lot of things. Yeah, this is very different.
You went goat and then to one of the best players in the country. All right,
you said one of them was missing, so I was worried. But so with her, just what challenges does she bring? And obviously, she's going to play an even bigger role without Juju. So what are you guys kind of expecting there?
Yeah, great player. A player that they can move all around the floor, and she played so well the other night, and obviously that's not a surprise because of her ability, but they can post her up, they can move her on the perimeter, she can face up. I thought her face-up game just continues to get better. Yeah, she's a mismatch problem in every area of the floor. I don't know that there's one. We'll try to do our best to keep things really tough on her. Try to do our best to do that, but I don't know there's just one formula to be able to do that, but a heck of a player.
We have time for one more question.
On the topic of Kennedy, when you were recruiting her out of the portal, what were some of the things that stood out that made you think that she would be a good fit in sort of all the different roles that she's been able to play for you guys?
Yeah, we had a real need for more depth at the center spot, but we also had a real need for I wanted to improve our physicality behind Lee. I wanted to improve our offensive rebounding, and she had a real knack for it. And then the other thing that goes into the recruitment is a player that would accept her role, knowing that Lee was coming back. And Kennedy was the 6th player of the year in the Missouri Valley, and in our conversations, she liked coming off the bench. She thought that was a role so you're not going to find that combination of fits very often. And so yeah, she really and she had she's a Kansas kid that had a desire to play close to home and close to her family. So there was a lot of things that we felt like were really good fits, basketball wise, but also her motivation to want to be there and want to thrive in the role that we had for her.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Who's your baseball?
Are you? Yeah, they took a tough one yesterday. They love it, though.
So I'm going to say your name so I can make sure I've got them right. Ayoka Lee. Ayoka. Temira Poindexter. Serena Sundell. Okay. So they've had a little bit of trouble with feedback with the mics. So if you hear that humming noise, it helps to lean in and to speak up a little. Okay. So that's, it doesn't make sense if that's what they say. So thank you very much. All right, we welcome Kansas State student athletes Ayoka Lee, Temira Poindexter, and Serena Sundell to the stage, and we'll open it up for questions.
Ryan Cartier, LA Times. Ayoka, what is the difficulty when going up against a big like Kiki Arifan, and just in terms of preparing for a team like USC when they don't have Juju Watkins, what sort of difficulty is there in just trying to understand even what they bring to the table, what they're going to do?
Yeah, I think, Kiki's a great player. She will definitely be like a focus for our team, has been in our scout. I think just like putting her in positions that she, isn't comfortable with, not giving her like the looks that she wants. I think film is awesome just because, we can see what they're capable of, So I think just trusting the film, trusting our scout and our coaches, and using that to prepare well. Yeah.
Serena, it's been 23 years since K-State's advanced to the Sweet 16. Can you describe just what this means to you, the K-State women's basketball program, the fans, and the university?
Yeah, I think it's just super special for this group. I know like none of us have advanced this far into the tournament, so we're just enjoying every little moment with each other and grateful to be here and excited that we've represented Kansas State well, and excited to continue to play together, knowing that we have, so many seniors, and each game could be our last. So it's super cool to make history for our school. And I know we all love Manhattan and love K-State, so it's been a really fun week back home too.
Eden Lassie, Hoops HQ, Ayoka, just to kind of go off that, like, your career has been incredible in so many ways, but also frustrating in a lot of ways. So to be here, this will be your last year, to be able to help your team get to the Sweet 16 for the first time in so long, like he mentioned. Just what does that mean to you, and then if the other two of you could sort of speak to what that means to her legacy.
Yeah, it means a lot, to finally just like accomplish like these big goals that we've had, because it has been frustrating in a lot of ways. So to finally see some things like come to fruition is just really exciting, and to get to experience these things with my teammates too is just memories that I'll just cherish forever. Coach Mittie always talks about not always realizing the full impact of what you're doing until like 5 years down the road. So just like remembering that and just, soaking it all in while we're here. Yeah.
Temira, do you have thoughts?
Yes. I feel like it speaks a lot to her character and who she is as a player and a person. Like she's been through a lot, and she's sacrificed not just her body, but, her time. She's been in college for a long time, so no, not like that. But and it just means a lot to me. Coming to K-State, I was so excited to be able to play with these two, and it just means a lot, and I'm so grateful, and it's really a blessing.
Yeah, I'm just happy for her. I've said it before, but I came in as a freshman only expecting to play with her for 1 year. So sitting here as a senior and being in the Sweet 16, it's just a cool moment for us. But yeah, she's been through so much and battled so much adversity and been in treatment for hours upon hours and has just worked her butt off her whole entire career. And I think it's one of those things too where not everybody in her position is going to keep fighting. She, could have easily hung up her shoes last year, but she decided to come back because this is where she wanted to be. And even this year, battling through one surgery and then another surgery, and maybe going to make it back for March Madness tournament. She could have easily been done, but she was like, nope, just put her head down. I was like, I'm going to come back. It's not when you want it, but I'm going to be back on the court again, and she was very determined. So just to see that hard work, determination, all the things pay off, I'm just super happy for her.
We have a question on Zoom. Let's go to Landon Reinhardt. Landon?
Hey guys, it's actually Caroline Soro at KSMT on Landon's Zoom. Anyways, just wanted to ask you guys, for whoever wanted to answer, how do you balance the emotions of being in a really hard-fought, energetic game in round 2, like that overtime game against Kentucky, and then kind of flipping the page and shifting your focus to this weekend?
Yeah, we definitely rode that high for a few days. I mean, as we were excited, as we should be, I think. But then when we got back into practice, we had a team meeting on Tuesday morning. I think once we hit that meeting and kind of put our eyes forward to the schedule and our opponents, that's when we kind of flipped the switch. We're like, okay, let's move on. That was fun, but there's still more to be accomplished.
Hi, Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. For any of you, really, Sweet 16 is, I guess, when you're on a neutral site for the first time. Is there anything that's really stood out about the experience, like the gear or anything that's come your way thus far?
Ayoka?
Yeah, I think it's all pretty cool. Yeah, I think the whole experience, just because we've never been here and we know, there's only 16 teams left playing in the NCAA tournament. That's pretty cool that we're one of them. So, yeah, I think we're definitely a grateful team. So I think we're just all soaking it all in. I think everything's been great. So, yeah, we're enjoying it.
For Serena and Temira, Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com, what kind of confidence does having Ayoka out there give you? And is there a belief that you can beat anyone in the country with her in the lineup?
Serena, let's start with you. Sorry.
Our team is, we're super excited to have her back. We're simply a better team with her on the court and back at 100%. I think we all are confident we can beat anybody in the country. But we also kind of have that underdog vibe around our team where not a lot of people are expecting. And I think as a player, you couldn't ask for anything better to, you don't have much to lose, but you also know that you're a very capable team and you have confidence. So I'm excited to be able to play free and play together. I think we're in a really good position.
Yes, I agree with Serena. Having Yoki back on the floor brings us a lot of confidence. I feel like we can tell that immediately. When her first practice back, I could tell the energy shift in just the team. So it definitely means a lot to have her back.
More questions?
Grace Rayner with The Athletic. For any of you guys look like you've had a lot of fun with Gap Goat. Just what does that tradition mean to your team, and just your favorite part about that experience?
He's been fun. He's our defensive representative for anybody who doesn't know. The goal is to get 3 stops in a row, which is a gap, And then we have a gap goat, a large stuffed goat animal that our managers hold behind our bench and kind of rally for us. So the goal is to get 7 gaps in a game, and you have a 95-ish% chance of winning. So it's a tangible thing that has just really taken off with our team and then our community in Manhattan and on social media. So it's been fun, but it's also been a really good thing for our defense, and it's what makes our defense so tough. So yeah, he's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, Temira? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we work really hard to we work really hard to get it. We work on it in practice. So yeah, it's a fun thing.
Ayoka, Coach earlier mentioned your value in terms of communication defensively on top of what everyone thinks of with the production. Is that something that sort of came naturally to you, or something that you have worked on over the course of your career?
I think it's just something that I've had coaches who have, just pushed it a lot, like instilled that in me. I think Coach Mittie's done the same thing, and coaches that we've had at K-State, especially, just because it's like I'm in the middle of the floor on defense, so sometimes I have the best view of everything. So, and it comes along with taking pride in our defense too. Like you have to communicate because it's a team defense. So, I think those things, and you just see how much more effective it is when we do communicate well. Yeah.
More questions? All right, we'll dismiss these 3 and say thank you.